Hey guys, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? If you can just pop your comments. Let me see here. Just gotta open chat so I can hear you guys. If you can hear me, can you type in the chat window, please, that you can hear what I'm saying? Yes, okay, thank you, Robin. Fantastic. I'm just trying to figure out my, oh yeah, here they are, my slides. Okay, share my slides and start my video so you can see me as well. Hello, hello. All right, let me just look at chat. Okie dokie. I can minimize that. All right, good stuff. All right, so well, I'll let you guys get settled. Give me another couple of minutes, so go and grab a tea or a coffee or something to drink, get comfortable, and get a little notepad or something so you can make notes. I will record this session, so you will get access to the recording, and I can also give you access to the slides if that helps. Just a quick question. Can you see my slide here? You should be able to see my first slide now. So if you can just type in a chat box and let me know. Yes, all right. Thank you, Robin. You're my helper tonight. Or is it morning for you? It's late night for me. And I need to make sure that I, let's see here, that I, audio options. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay, I just muted you guys so we don't get any background noise and disturbances because there has been some noises. So if you have questions during the presentation, of course, there will be a Q&A at the end. I suspect it will take about 60 minutes all up. I've got a bunch of notes here for all my slides, and I'm just going to go through them and talk about insights and lessons that I have learned around productivity. So if something comes up during a slide, make note of it, and then there will be a Q&A section at the end, so you can ask me anytime. And yes, a good morning to everyone, guys. I'm so excited you're here. It is actually 11 p.m. on the dot here in Switzerland, in Bern. It's late for me. I'm normally not working at this time of the day, but obviously with the time zone difference between Australia and Denver and the rest of the world, this was the best time for me to do this webinar, so you guys can all be on at the same time. Yeah, it looks, you guys are welcome. Thank you for being here, for taking the time to actually join me on this webinar. If you just want to take a quick minute to type in the chat box where you're from, where you're joining us from, so we can all see where you guys are from and what's happening, and then we get started. Yeah, that would be fantastic. And if anyone experiences sound problems or can't see the slides, if one of you guys can just kind of help me problem shoot with everyone, Cool. Oh, Bright in Victoria. That is such a beautiful place, Robin. I was there once with the caravan. 7 a.m. in the morning. Oh my God, you're up early. Christy's from Texas. Hi. Hi, Christy. Hello, Texas. And we got Marie from Gainesville, Florida. Beautiful place. Absolutely lovely. Yes, that's great. And as I said, I'm in Bern, Switzerland right now, and I'm looking forward to this masterclass. So let's get started. All right. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is my Productivity Booster Masterclass. I'm going to share with you the 6 insights that I have learned that help me be very, very productive. Okay, I'm going to walk you through these and share from my experience. I'm no guru of productivity, but I've managed to figure out a system that works really well for me so that I can actually enjoy a great lifestyle at the same time. And we've got Jocelyn from Boulder, Colorado, beautiful, beautiful place. And we've got Helen C in the Glasshouse Mountains. Oh, you're traveling. Oh, you're going to go hiking. Oh my God, how exciting. Well, thank you, Helen. Thank you so much for being up early and have a fantastic hike after. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And we've got Rhonda from Canada at the airport waiting for a flight. You guys, you blow me away. That's just so amazing. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. So I won't delay you. What you're going to learn is how you can manage your time more effectively. I think that's the key for a lot of women in business. I know a lot of you guys are struggling with being productive because I can hear it from you all the time when I'm coaching you. And I want you to tick off your to-do list so that you can fast track your momentum. This is one of the most important key aspects of running your business, is to actually stay productive. So we're going to work on that today, and I'm going to share some great insights. What I'm going to share is especially the 6 crucial insights that I have learned over the years of being in business that helps me stay super productive. And I can literally create a ton of work in a short amount of time. Just yesterday, I had a VIP day with a client, and together we workshop not only clarity for his brand new program, but I've actually written 4,500 words of copy for his sales page. So we got his entire sales page nailed. And he got clarity on his modules, which is key, because if you do this stuff alone, sometimes it's going to take you a lot longer. So in a space of 6 hours, we were super productive because we were focused. So this is what this is all about. So I want to just quickly talk about some stats here, which is really pointing out why we need to be productive in our business. According to Harvard University, companies in the US alone lose almost $65 billion annually because of employee sleep deprivation. Now, if you have employees, then what does that cost you as a business owner, as an employer? But if you're a sole trader and you work by yourself, not being productive, this is costing you a ton of money as well. Because by not being productive, by being stuck and in overwhelm, you are actually wasting so much of your precious time, because you're doing everything double. Yeah, you're starting and stopping your projects, and by starting and stopping work, you're actually losing time as well. And time is money, and this is really, really important. So now we're going to slay the time suck dragon together with simple tools, systems, and with intent. How does that sound, guys? Are you in for this? Are you ready for it? Give me a hell yeah in the comments. Whoop, whoop, bring it on. Yes, baby. All right. Thank you. Fantastic. Good stuff. I see you guys are wide awake. I like it. I like it very much. So the 6 insights we're going to cover today. Insight number 1 is the number 1 mistake that keeps you spinning your wheels, and why women especially in business frequently get caught up in this mistake because of their conditioning. Insight number 2 covers my productivity booster get it done system, the way I work. So I'm going to share with you the way I work that allows me to work on average 30 hours a week while staying accountable to myself and my business. Now, the 30 hours a week is over the space of a year. So make no mistake, I have weeks where I work 60 hours or 70 hours a week, but then I have weeks where I do nothing or the bare minimum. So over the space of time, I work about 30 hours a week, and I have a great lifestyle. You know, many of you know that I'm traveling the world, and I've been location independent for the last 3.5 years. And my husband is at home with me. So my business allows me, or allows us, to have this amazing life where we just live in a place for 3 months and then we move to a new country, or maybe sometimes a little bit longer. But obviously, business is important because I need to earn the money to keep us traveling and keep us enjoying life. Insight number 3 is the one thing philosophy that changes everything for you, and the surprisingly simple truth behind extraordinary results. So we're going to go into that in more detail. Insight number 4 is why most women in business struggle with goal commitments and how this affects their everyday reality. In insight number 5, we're going to look at a simple results-driven accountability method that actually works for people who work it. Okay, so if you have accountability buddies and it's not quite working out for you, you're probably going to love this part especially. And in insight number 6, I'm going to share with you the rules of boundaries that work and how your work gets done, so that you can actually create more time freedom for yourself and leverage your expertise with the least possible effort, because we all have a life beside our business. We don't just exist in a sole business bubble, right? And life mostly gets in the way of business. So we're going to smash through those boundaries and through those blockages that many of us have, or many of you have, right? I can say without a doubt that I'm very productive. I have very rarely days where I feel that I'm not really feeling like wanting to do work. So because I have this clear system. So let's talk about number 1, the number 1 mistake that keeps you spinning your wheels. And I've got notes here on my little papers. So if you see me looking down, it's not because I'm being impolite, it's because I'm actually reading from my little scrap notes, okay? So the number 1 mistake is actually boundaries. Now I want to hear from you guys. How many of you have clearly set boundaries in your life and business? I want you to type in the comment box and let me know yes or no. The reason people don't have boundaries, especially women, yeah, I see a bunches of no coming in here. Yeah, that is the number 1 problem. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, says Anne. Yeah, sometimes says Rhonda. No, no, no. So the reason you don't have boundaries is because you struggle to say no. You know, you have no clearly defined rules within which you can actually operate your business and lifestyle. And that is why you're struggling to get your work done. This is the number 1 reason. And it is a huge problem for a lot of people. I remember back when I first started in my business, I had no boundaries. And as a result, I attracted the wrong type of clients. I attracted clients who didn't respect me. They didn't respect my expertise. They were always trying to haggle for my prices. They were trying to get me to do work last minute. So they'd come to me today and say, oh, I need a sales page. I'm launching my program tomorrow. Can you write it today? And naturally, because I didn't have boundaries, I said yes. So I was always at the peril of everyone else's lack of time management. And yes, exactly, Robin. Robin says you teach people how to treat you. So that's a boundary that you need to establish in your business if you don't already do that. And you can do that with your communication, of course. The way you communicate, your process, the way you funnel people through your sales acquisition funnel, that is how you teach people how to treat you. But if you don't have boundaries, how can you teach them? You can't. So learn to set boundaries. Get really clear on the values that drive you. Yeah, what is important to you as a business owner? What is important to you as a non-business owner? You know, how do you define your values? You know, what matters? What are you prepared to do as a business owner, and what will you never do as a business owner? So start there and then start implementing those boundaries. We're going to talk more about boundaries further on in this presentation, okay? Because this is really important stuff. So insight number 2. Yeah, we've seen that. Insight number 2 is my productivity booster, get it done system. I think many of you will love this because it will give you an idea on how you can be more productive. And this allows me to work my, average 30 hours a week. So I'm going to share with you 9 ways that will help you stay more productive and actually get stuff done, okay? These 9 ways are actually one of the framework of the way I work in my business. It is not everything I do, but it is a large portion of what I do every single day in my business and the way I structure my business so that I can still enjoy time off. For example, yesterday I went on an almost 300-kilometer bike ride with a friend while still working on a client project. So you can combine your work with your free time. It's just a matter of organizing yourself and getting really clear on the structure of your day and which times are energetically better for you to work. Like, for example, I struggle to get productive if I don't do my work first thing in the morning. So if I sleep in and I laze away the morning, comes the afternoon, I have no desire to work because I feel in my mind that it's already like half the day's already gone. I've wasted half the day. And so I can't even be bothered to start working. So for me, it's really important that if I have something to do, something important, and I have projects to fulfill, that I get up early in the morning and I attack that work straight away. And then I reward myself with freedom, with lifestyle, with time off. And that works really well for me. How do you guys work? Like, do you find you have energetic highs and lows where you feel like, oh, I'm really productive at night, or I'm really productive in the morning? Have you sort of seen this or recognized this within yourself? Superwoman in the AM. Yeah, Christine, I'm like you. Yeah. Robin, early morning from 4:30 a.m. Perfect. That's great. Anne says she does good in mid-morning to evening. Mary says morning. And Tamara says morning. So we got a lot of morning people in the house. That's why you guys got up early, right? Yeah, Christy is productive in the morning after she gets her kids off to school. Morning too for Helen. Yeah. So if you guys already know that, then this is when you want to schedule your work, the bulk of your work that needs to get done. So what do I do? Okay. I don't do email before lunchtime. What I mean by that is I don't address any email questions that are not absolutely necessary to the projects that I'm working on. So if I'm, for example, working on a website copy project for a client, then I quickly scan my inbox in the morning before I do and sit down to do my work. But I only scan for that person's emails. If I have personal coaching clients that I'm working with for 90 days or whatever, I'm looking for these emails in my inbox because these guys get my undivided support. But if I don't have any emails from these people, then I ignore the rest of my emails until after I've completed my project for the day. This allows me to focus on what's necessary right now. And by being able to focus like that, I can create my work without distractions. Because if I were to go through my entire inbox and answer every email, every query, every question, I would probably spend 30 minutes to an hour of my time every morning. And what's worse is I will get sucked into other people's energies because of their questions, because of their struggles, because of their stuckness, right? So I don't want to get sucked into other people's energies. I want to contain my energy so that I have that energetic boost to actually complete my work before I allow myself to look at the external world. So if you can do that, if you can contain your energy first thing in the morning, especially if you work in the morning and do the best work, then ignore your email inbox. You also want to ignore social media before lunch or before having worked at least 4 hours solid. Okay? Because if you log into Facebook while you're still in bed, if you look at your news app on your phone while you're still in the bed or while you're sitting on the loo or whatever you're doing, you're not being productive. Because again, you're focusing and you're leeching your energy to the external world. And when you're leeching your energy, you can't contain it, right? Does that make sense? Just put a yes in the chat box. Let me know. Yeah? Awesome. Thank you, Anne. That's great. Yeah, keep energy for you, Robin. Yes, yes. Thank you. Awesome. I'm glad you got that because this is really powerful stuff. It's not this big woo-woo aha moment, but if you actually do it, it will change the way you work and it will keep you more productive. The other thing I don't do is when I'm working on my project, so if I have Google Drive open, I do a lot of my drafts in Google Drive. When I write copy, when I coach, I do my notes in a text edit. I'm on a Mac, so I have a little text edit file and I can write notes as I speak with my clients. I switch everything else off. Email, Facebook, any other social media, I'm locked out of all of these channels. Because again, I want to focus on the task at hand, and I can't do that if I'm being distracted by pings and notifications and messages and things like that. I also switch my phone to silent. As a matter of fact, my smartphone is silent 100% of the time. The only, or maybe 99.99% of the time, because I have an Australian SIM card and I have a dual SIM card phone. So I actually don't answer phone calls on my mobile phone because it would cost me an absolute fortune. So my local SIM card only has data. And so if I do have to make a phone call, I use Skype and Skype credits to call local phone numbers. Or I use WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger and things like that. So I don't actually expect any phone calls because people know they can't call me. But even if I did, if I was in Australia with my Australian SIM card, I would still switch my phone off most of the time. So if it does ring, it vibrates. And I can ignore it if I'm in the middle of a project, or I can choose to answer it if I'm in between projects and I have a little break. So if you can do that, that would save you so much hassle as well. The other thing I also do is I work with a paper diary and pens. I'm a very creative person, so I need to have that physical paper, tactile feel while I work. But not only that, according to recent studies in the neuroscience field, they have actually found out that reading paper-based information requires 21% less cognitive effort to process than reading digital media. So it's actually easier for us to read stuff on paper. Now, as you can imagine, if you're using paper to create your notes and to have a system where you tick off your to-do list, again, you're a lot more productive because you physically have the paper next to your computer and you can always look at, okay, what else is outstanding? Okay, what's the next task? And then you can tick that off as you go along and complete it. Because let's face it, we are living in an era where we are inundated with notifications, with beeps, with alerts and messages every minute of every day. And if we give other people permission, they will impose on our time 24/7 because of having that digital age. Yeah. And also, if you have an online diary, an online planner, so you use Google Calendar or something like that, you have to open another tab. You have to switch between tabs. You have to fire up another software. You have to launch another app. You have to access your calendar all the time. And that takes up a lot of time because you do it throughout the day. And even if you schedule your stuff, I tried scheduling stuff in Google Calendar, but the time that it takes me to schedule all that stuff and color code my calendar and make it look pretty and all of that, it takes me so much extra time. And then if I want the information in front of me and I'm working on something, I have to switch tabs and look at my calendar and it's like, okay, I got to make a note, this is done. Whereas if I have a paper diary, I can just tick it off and make a quick note. I have the pen there and it takes me literally 5 seconds. So consider using a proper paper diary. I'm going to show you some snippets of my diary so you can actually see how I do that. The other thing that you want to do is you want to focus on one project each day. Okay, so one master project that you work on each day, rather than trying to tick off too many things, because when you do that, you're not being productive, because you have to switch from A mode to B mode to C mode, with A, B, C being 3 different projects. And just the switching alone, not the physical switching, but the mind switching in between projects takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy, and it makes you tired. Can you relate to that? Have you ever tried to sort of attack lots of things in a one day and you're not going anywhere? So what I do is, yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've tried it as well and it doesn't work for me. So that's why I'm focusing on the one project a day. The only other thing I do every day is my daily tasks, such as email, admin, and Facebook. But that doesn't take a lot of my time. To write my daily email, to do my Facebook posts, and to do admin, such as, replying to email inquiries and replying to clients and supporting clients and going into Facebook and social media and commenting and replying to people's questions. It doesn't take me that much time. Sometimes an hour a day, sometimes 2 hours a day. Sometimes a little bit longer, but most of the time I can get that done within like 90 minutes a day. So I can find 90 minutes a day at the end of the day. Okay, cool, Rhonda. Thank you so much. Yeah, you will get the recording as soon as it's converted, and I'll send it out via email, okay? Have a great day. All right, thank you so much. So the way I work is I use an adaptation of the Pomodoro method. Now, if you've never heard of the Pomodoro method, it's a method where you're supposed to work 25 minutes, then you have a 5-minute break, then you work another 25 minutes, you have another 5-minute break, and you repeat it again a third time before taking a 15-minute break. Now, the 25 minutes for me are not long enough because I can very quickly focus and get into my creative space by working for 45 minutes. That seems to be the sweet spot for me. So I've kind of played with 30-minute times, I played with hours, I played with 20 minutes, and I find 45 minutes are the best time frame for me to do hyper-intensive focused work. Then I take a 5-minute break. Then I do another 45 minutes, and I do another 5-minute break. Then I take in between, after the second 45 minutes, I might take a 10-15-minute break. And then I do another 2 rounds of 45 minutes. And so all up, I've worked about 4 hours, plus minus a few, okay? And within those 4 hours, I can get a lot of work done. Absolutely a ton of work. And I do that on most days of the week, except on Thursdays and Fridays when I'm coaching. So usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I do at least a 4-hour cycle, like the 45-minute cycles every day, sometimes twice a day. Then on Thursdays and Fridays, I might do one 45-minute cycle in between coaching calls, depending how booked I am. And on Saturday and Sunday, I'm usually not working, except when I have a pressing deadline for a client or something comes in or I'm about to go on a cruise or something like that. So I'm just curious, how many here have actually tried working with the Pomodoro method, or is this new for you guys? Let me know. Okay, new for most of you. Anne has. So I'm curious, Anne, how has that worked for you? Do you find you're more productive using the Pomodoro style method? And if yes, have you adapted it to your own kind of energy, the way you work best? Okay, Jocelyn tried it and it's great, but doesn't use it very often. Yeah, you can unmute. Let me unmute you. I think I need to unmute you. Okay, and okay, you're unmuted.
Hey, Monika.
Hi.
Like what you were talking about, I found the 25 minutes just wasn't long enough for me. It took me like the first 10 just to kind of get going in it. So for me, it's usually between 45 and 50 minutes that works the best.
Yes. Okay. So similar to what works for me. That's great. That's good to know. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute you again. All right. All right. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, you're welcome, Jocelyn. Okay. Sarah supported her clients to time block, but not done it herself. Christine has used it and it still works for her. Super more productive. Yeah, it's somebody called it the Pomodoro method. It's just, you can Google that Pomodoro method and you'll see the information about it. But don't Google it now. Stay with me, okay? So how do I get quickly into my zone? Like I'm literally within 5 minutes, I'm in my zone when I work like that. I basically just go to YouTube and in the search bar, I put in focus music for study. And it comes up with a whole ton of compilation videos, which are actually just music. These are relaxation, high-intense study music tracks, and they run sometimes for like 2 hours. And yeah, yay! High five, Christine. Awesome, yeah. And it works. It works so well. Like literally within like that, I am totally in my zone. The other thing I love to do sometimes to switch things up, I go to Coffeetivity. So this is called coffeetivity.com. It's a free app. I think you can download it on your smartphone. They do have a paid version, but I think you get 3 different tracks for free. And it's like a coffee shop murmur and noises. So you feel like you're in a coffee shop and it goes on loop. So it goes on, you can set it for 30 minutes, for an hour, for I think maybe even longer as well. Coffeetivity. Okay, so let me just type it. www.coffeetivity.com. I just put it in the chat. Okay, so check it out. It's a really cool little app. You're welcome. Okay, and then the other thing that I do is because I have a paper diary, I'm going to show you how my paper diary looks like, okay? So I have what you call a bullet journal. Now I've been a Moleskine fan for, I don't know, the last 8 years. Moleskine is a type of journal that comes from one of the writers. I can't even remember his name. Some famous writer from way back, okay? He used that all the time to do his sketches and things like that. And I've used Moleskine diaries that were pre-printed with a year in the diary itself. But I found that because I'm so creative and I like to doodle, I've actually started using or creating my own bullet journal. And what I do is I use a key that you can see on the screen here. So the actual way I navigate through my tasks and my projects is with these little signs that you can see, okay? And then obviously once it's done, I tick it off with a check mark, or I cross it out if it's completed, or I put a little arrow in if it's migrated to another day. And so that seems to work for me really well. This is not my key. I found that online in a bullet journal community, but it works really well, and I've adapted to it as well. So this is one way I mark my projects. And basically, I have my diary on the right-hand side of my computer all the time when I'm working. So I make sure that my working space is clean. I have my little Buddha that normally sits here on the computer, and every time I make a sale, I rub its tummy and I kiss it. That's my little celebration thing. And I obviously, when I'm in a flat, if John and I are in a flat by ourselves, regardless where we are in the world, I always set up my office in a specific spot. So I put my little mind maps up, I put my Buddha up, I have my clear table, and it works well for me because I can immediately be in the zone when I sit down in front of my computer, because I know it's work time. My mind already switches. But right now, while I'm with my friend, I'm in his office and there's clutter everywhere. So I'm just sitting it here, and then sometimes I work on the couch. Sometimes I'm in the table in the kitchen. So I have to sort of move around, and that can be challenging, but it works well. You know, I just have to work with whatever environment I have. Sarah's been using a paper journal to track her day as well. Good, love it. Put the close-up of my key back up. Okay, there you go. And can you see that now? Robin's going to buy one today. Okay, have to make a note on my Google Calendar. Love it, love it, love it. Cheeky. Yes, so, and I will give you guys the slides, the PDF, so you can, you have that as well. I'll give you guys that, okay? So what else do I do in my journal? A bullet journal is a doodle journal as well. Now, I have a page every month where I write things about that I'm grateful. Sometimes it looks like that. Sometimes it's a big tree. Sometimes it's just a bunch of boxes. Sometimes it's, you know, it's whatever it is. I'm just using my creative inspiration and do it. I also have a page in my diary every month where I talk about my adventures. So the things I'm grateful for. Like this was in Italy back in January when we went to Rome. We had Netflix marathons. I was grateful. We had lots of coffee outings in the local bakeries. We had sunsets. We ate pastries, lots of sunshine, and we even saw snow on the mountain. So this is kind of stuff that helps me keeping inspired. So it's rather than just having the work there, you also have your pleasure there. And because my life is a combination of both, it makes sense that I'm actually noting it as well. So this is one of the things I do, but obviously that's because I'm creative, and this is my way of chilling out and, you know, being grateful for the life I have. The actual pages in my diary look like this. So here at the top, this color is where I track my time. And each color reflects to a certain kind of work that I do. So that sort of green color is sleep time. The orange color is work time. The yellow color is me time. That's when I do my journaling and things like that. And then there's coaching, and then there's work again, and there's me time again, and things like that. And then as you can see here is the key. Each day I have the key where I complete things or I move things to the next day, blah, blah, blah. But usually I use both pages of the diary. So I think that was the end of the month. Oh no, it was the middle of the month. So I had a spare page here. That's how my diary looks like. Recently I've stopped tracking my time up here because I've just been so bloody busy that I haven't had time, but I've been bloody busy with my social life. So really I just stopped tracking my time. But even that works, okay? Because I'm still aware of how much time I spend working and how much time I spend not working. Then the other way I do is I track my things that I want to do every day. So in February, I was having my morning routine, which is my journaling, meditation, content creation every day, a video every day, Facebook group, Pinterest, doing outreach. See, I didn't do much outreach in February. Me time, which is just reading, watching Netflix, going for coffee, whatever. Eating healthy foods, and email to my list, which I've been pretty consistent. So I track that stuff as well. So all of this becomes my work, my kick-ass work routine. And it works because I keep myself accountable to all the things I need to do for my business. So email to the list, content creation, videos, Facebook group. These are my ways of generating new leads and new clients in my business. If for you it is speaking, presenting, going to networking events, then maybe you want to track what you do every day of the month with a color-coded plan and have that in your diary as well. If that's not your cup of tea, then at the very least, make sure you put in your to-dos and your obligations that you made for yourself, and actually have a section in your diary where you actually track that stuff, so that you know you've been keeping accountable to yourself or not. Does that make sense, guys? Was that helpful? Yes. Good. I haven't put you to sleep yet. Love it. Awesome. Thank you. A bit overwhelming. Yeah, of course. But like I said, Jocelyn, you don't need to do the doodling bit. You can just do the stuff with tracking your to-do list manually. You don't have to implement my system. I want you to implement your own system. I want you to implement the system that works for you, but at the same time, you use pen and paper, so you start being more productive right there. Okay. And it doesn't take much. Even if you just scribble a list in your diary every day, it doesn't matter as long as it gets done. So let's move to insight number 3. The one thing philosophy that changes everything, and the surprisingly simple truth behind extraordinary results. So the one thing is actually a book. Some of you may have heard about this. It is a non-fiction self-help book and a podcast written by Gary Keller, the co-founder and chairman of the board of Keller Williams Realty, which is one of the world's largest real estate companies, and Jay Papasan, which is the vice president of publishing at Keller Williams. So these guys have come up with this concept that in order to be more productive, you need to focus on the one thing. And the premise of the one thing is the benefits of prioritizing a single task or project for the day. Much like I've said before, that's what I do. I've actually started doing that before I knew about the One Thing podcast and book, right? And it really works, because when you engage in those tasks with the singular focus, you are a lot more productive, because you're literally focused on the one thing and you're not sidetracked and distracted by other things. A great way to prioritize your projects is basing them on their feasibility, on profitability, because it's pointless spending weeks on writing a sales page, for example, if you're not fluent writing. And when you could be outsourcing that to somebody else and work on the tasks that you're good at, for example, creating your offer or getting really clear on the marketing plan that helps you sell your new offer. So you need to look beyond the tasks that you're doing every single day. You need to look at, what am I actually good at? What am I loving? And what am I enjoying in my business that I can do with my eyes closed, and it feels more like fun? It feels more like play. This is the stuff you need to be doing every single day. And the stuff that feels like treacle, it feels hard, it feels icky, that's the stuff you should be outsourcing. Now, I've been outsourcing my social media management since the beginning of this year. I don't have to deal with Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, where else? That's about it. And Facebook pages, because my social media manager does all that for me. And all she does is she repurposes my content. So my message is still on purpose because she just posts my stuff, but she does the work. I don't have to physically do it. And I tell you guys, it saves me so much time. I have so much peace of mind because I'm omnipresent and still I don't have to do the work. So Anne asks, what if my current cash flow does not allow for outsourcing? It's a good question, but here's a question back for you. Are you looking at this as an expense because you feel like you can't afford it, or you literally don't have the money physically to pay somebody else? Because that's a difference. If you physically don't have the money to pay somebody else to do it, is there a way to make that money doing some extra work? Literally don't have the physical money. Is there a way in your everyday, like your week, where you can take on a part-time job to earn that money to then outsource it to do the things that need to be done that you hate doing? I'm throwing that question out at you. You don't have to answer that right now, but I want you to think about this in all honesty. If you're spending every day of the week being overwhelmed, procrastinated, you're sitting there in front of your computer, you're doing a little bit of things here, a little bit of things there, but you're actually not being productive and you're not making money, then you need to ask yourself, is what I'm doing beneficial for my business? Or should I maybe spend some of that time working a part-time job for the short term so that I can earn the money to then pay somebody else to do the work that needs to be done? It's an important question, and one that only you can answer. Only you know whether you're actually wasting time or whether you're literally doing the best you can every single day and you're being productive and you're doing the right things and you're doing this and you're really productive, but you're not getting results. If that's the case, then you need to look at your marketing plan and we need to have a talk in a coaching call because something is off, right? Okay, Helen asks, with my social media strategies, do you have teams that you work with? Like when there's a campaign or program that you're launching, do you work at that level with them? Actually, she works at that level with me, but I sometimes am not because I'm just so impulsive and I sometimes throw something out there like an offer at the spur of the moment. And then she goes, I should have known about this so I can post about it. So the problem is not with her, the problem is with me because I'm an impulsive person, and when I feel compelled to offer something and make a special offer to my list, I usually do it at the drop of a moment or the drop of a pin. I don't actually plan ahead. Having said that, with my writing course launch that I did a couple of months ago, I did work with her. So we came up with a plan. I just communicated the launch dates to her, the early bird dates to her, and she then worked with those dates to actually cross-promote the program in the different channels. Does that make sense, Helen? Just going back here, giving it a go. Yeah, cool. Yes, definitely. Okay, cool. So if you guys want to know more about the One Thing, listen to the One Thing podcast. It is the best podcast I have ever listened to. Okay, go and check it out. It is amazing. Just listening to each of these episodes will make you super productive in itself. So moving on to insight number 4, why most women struggle with goal commitments and how this affects their everyday reality. You never listen to a podcast, Sarah. Oh my God. Well, you can You can listen to it on your iPhone, on your smartphone, on your computer. You can download it. Yeah, Baby Boomer. Yeah. Well, maybe you're interested. It's really, really good stuff. Like, it will be worth your time. Give it a go. Yes. Cool. So let's talk about women and why we guys, well, us ladies, struggle with goal commitments. If we got a few guys in the house, this normally doesn't apply to you guys, because you're different, right? You're wonderful. We love you, but you're different. You don't struggle with goal commitments the way we do. I'm not saying you don't struggle at all, but I think it's harder for us women, because from the moment we're born, we women are conditioned by society to behave in a certain way. We are told to be nice, to not make waves. We're told to be polite, to look pretty, to act proper, to be modest and selfless. And that last label, the selflessness, is what hurts entrepreneurs the most, in my humble opinion. Selflessness seems to be ingrained, a rule that is stamped on our foreheads at birth. We are taught to be selfless. We are taught to help, to do our best, to be giving, to be nice. And often we do that in exchange of huge personal costs. Yeah, social conditioning. Right. Fuck that shit. Why is that? Yeah, exactly. It's because it's, I don't know. Why is it? It's social conditioning. Like Sarah says, it is shit. Exactly. We have to stop that madness, because it's not serving us. As a business owner and entrepreneur, you have an obligation to you, first and foremost. Because if you can't help yourself, you won't be able to help others. And you started this business because you want to help others. You started this business because you want to leave a legacy. You started this business to have a better life, to have an amazing lifestyle. But how can you do that when you're freaking nice all the time? When you're so selfless that you put everyone else first and yourself last? It's impossible. It has to stop. Yeah? I love that, Robin. Talk about boundaries, girlfriend. I love it. So when I talk about not being selfless, I'm not giving you permission that you have to be the world's nastiest bitch or a difficult person. Of course, you have every right to be that sometimes. We all have that right. But what it means is that you can and should make your own well-being and that of your business the priority number one. Okay? With no exceptions. You come first, your business comes first. If your work is not done, your business will not survive. If your business doesn't survive, you're not doing what you're actually passionate about. If you're not doing what you're passionate about, you might as well go and put a gun to your head, because life is shit, because you're doing stuff that you don't want to do, and why bother, right? So you have an obligation to yourself. You need to start treating yourself with more respect. The funny thing is, with my lifestyle, a lot of people think that I just have a long ass holiday, right? I meet people all the time. It's like, oh my God, you've been traveling for so long, but all I see is you do this, you go for bike rides, you go hiking, you go cruising. Do you ever work? And I want to bust that myth right now, because for me, my business always comes first. And that was the number one rule for me when we left Australia. John knows that my business comes first because he's at home with me. But if I don't work on my business, I don't have a business. If I don't have a business, we might as well go back to being chefs in a job that we hate, working for asshole bosses that we hated. We don't want that. So I have an obligation to myself and to John now to work on my business every single day, because without it, it's not going to happen, right? And it's the same for you, regardless of your lifestyle, whether you want to travel or whether you don't want to travel. But at the very least, I would imagine you want to spend more time with your grandchildren, with your children, with your husband, with your partner, with your lover. You want to have time to enjoy life. And even so, if you love doing your business, you still want to have time to do the other things as well. Yeah? Yes, I work. I kicked ass with you. I did too. Thank you, darling. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I work hard, right? I don't just have that amazing lifestyle that you guys see on Facebook. I actually work hard as well. And, business always comes first for me. That's a non-negotiable. So let's work. Just want to say that prioritize yourself, no exceptions. Yeah, like Christine says, work hard, play hard. Absolutely my kind of work or my kind of belief. So insight number 5, a simple results-driven accountability method that works for those who work it. So if you guys have had, I know some of you have had accountability partners. I know some of you have done well with accountability partners, and I know some of you haven't done so well with accountability partners. So I just want to, out of curiosity, who here has had an accountability buddy before? And how did that work out for you? Just pop it in the comments, and I'll take a sip of water from my big giant bottle. Jocelyn does hips. Good. It helps. It helps. Yeah. Anne had a few and most didn't work well. Okay. I can relate to that actually from the past. Robin had a few buddies who are awesome. And she says really comes back to her. Yeah, I like that. Great attitude. Sarah has had 2. One is every Friday for 3 minutes between 3 of us. Awesome. Christine had a few. Seem to fizzle out. Tamara, but life takes you away. Wendy has great support. Hi, Wendy. And Christine does, but she doesn't utilize it to capacity. Okay, great stuff, great stuff. So I think the reason, I have personally experienced with accountability buddies is the disconnect of values and views that we had, okay? And what I found is that when one person is driven to get shit done and the other keeps making excuses, it creates a disconnect and it doesn't work. And that's exactly my reality that I've experienced with accountability partners in the past. I find that a lot of the times I'm a lot more motivated than they are. And so I get a load of work done every week. I'm super productive and we get on the phone and they've done nothing. And all they do is make excuses. Oh, I haven't had time, or I've been sick, or I wasn't motivated, or like this and that. And yes, we all have bad days, me included. But if somebody always has excuses and they don't do the work, then, it doesn't feel fun to have an accountability situation with them because you're not getting anything in return. You feel like you're always the person supporting the other person and lifting them up. And that's not fun if you have to keep lifting people up if they don't want to be lifted up or they don't actually want to do the work. 30-minute call. Okay, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I want a buddy who can ideally complement myself with the skills that I have. Because if I, as a coach and copywriter, buddy up with a designer or a social media manager or a public speaker or a bricks and mortar business owner, I get not only my hat of experience, I get their hat of experience that is going to help me manyfold when I experienced setbacks or problems or something like that. So rather than talking to somebody else who's in a similar scenario, which can be a benefit, I find that having somebody else's skill set and expertise gives me an outside the box view and feedback. And I find that very important. All right. Thanks, Tamara. Thank you, darling. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Yes. So if you want an accountability partner that has your back, do this. There's 3 steps you can do that. The first thing you can do is you interview several prospects and ask them about their values. Why are they in business? Why do they want an accountability buddy? What will they contribute no matter what? Okay. Like, this interview is just to really get a feel of how serious they are about actually buddying up with you and following through. Because the buddying up is easy. The following through is the hard part. Ask them about their values and their views, because they need to match yours. If you're not energetically aligned with each other, then it's going to be hard to be accountable and to actually follow through on that. You need to have the same level of passion if this relationship is to have a chance. I think, see, Tamara and Helen's a buddy. Yeah, I love it. 2 buddies. So yeah, do that. Interview people, find out if you're energetically aligned and you share the same values and the same views about business, about your goals, about everything, because that's going to help you create more than a buddy. It's going to help you create an amazing friend for life. And that in itself is worth so much more than just buddying up, right? The second thing you can do is you choose a check-in period that works for the both of you. Like, what I found is with some of my buddies, I've checked in weekly, others monthly. And what I found is that the monthly accountability doesn't work for me. Like, when I have an accountability buddy, I need to talk to them weekly, because I'm, like I said, I'm very productive. And obviously, if I choose a buddy, they would be very productive. And so we have lots and lots to talk about every week, and we want to make headway. And to get progress, you need to connect more often, because if you don't connect for a month, you have so many questions and you might be stuck with a specific problem. And if your buddy is not there to lift you and to help you and to give you feedback on your questions, then a month is a very long time. Yeah. And chances are it's too much time, because you have lost the momentum or the chances of building momentum in that time. So I suggest you meet weekly for 30 minutes to report, to compare notes, and to ask questions and support each other. And what I've found works for me now that I have a great accountability buddy is we split our time equally during calls. So what we do is we do 5 minutes check-in. We check in on our status, like what we've accomplished, where we're at, and then we ask questions, or we address a specific problem for the 10 minutes that we have. And 10 minutes is a long time, because you don't talk for 10 minutes. You may talk about your problem for a minute or two, and then that person has time for like 8 minutes to give you feedback. And then once I've had my turn, then the other person would do theirs. And that works really well. Sarah says Karen and Morgan do that format. Great. And how is it working for you? Works for you? I would imagine it would, otherwise you wouldn't do it, right? It's a great format because it doesn't take a lot of time. You know, most people have half an hour every week. Yes. Awesome. That's really good. Awesome. Yeah. So try to, find somebody. If you're not currently have a buddy, be very specific in what you're looking for, because you need to be, the most important thing is you're energetically aligned and you're pulling on the same kind of, same kind of levers and switches and things like that. Because if it's not fun, if you're not aligned with that person, then it feels hard, and chances are you'll just give up, you won't follow through, and it's because you're not energetically aligned with that person. So have the best day. Thanks, Robin. Bye, darling. Have a good one. Thank you so much for checking in. We're just going to go into Insight 6, and then we're going to go to questions. Okay, so Insight 6 is the rule of boundaries, that work and work gets done. So that work gets done so that you can create more time freedom and leverage your expertise with the least possible effort. So what are boundaries worth to you when you fail to automate processes and track your progress, right? So I want to share 10 ways now that will help you set better boundaries. I'm using all of these myself. They use really well for me, work really well for me. And it's a start. It's not all inclusive, but it will help you to start setting better boundaries. So the first one, if you use Gmail, you can create canned responses for emails you send out frequently. If you don't use Gmail, you use Yahoo. I highly recommend you use email, and you actually import your domain emails from your domain name, Robin at yourdomainname.com, Sarah at yourdomainname.com, etc. You import them into Gmail. You can actually read your domain names in Gmail. So all of your emails come into the one inbox, and you don't have to log into webmail. You don't have to use the email program on your computer, which doesn't work when you're traveling most of the time because of the ISP problem. So in Gmail, you can just log in, you can check all your emails, and you can create canned responses for inquiries that you have frequently. So you can just have like a stock email template that you put in there, and then you can fire that up with one click of a button. You can quickly personalize it, and you can click send, and it takes literally not even 15 seconds of your time. The second thing you can do is please use an email autoresponder to build your list. Avoid using spreadsheets. I just had a conversation with one of you guys this past week where I found out that this person is still using a spreadsheet and her Gmail inbox to send emails to her entire list. This is actually against the law. It's against Spam Can Act laws, which you can Google. And it is very time consuming. When you build an email list with an autoresponder software like Aweber, MailerLite, ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, Confusionsoft, or anything like that, you're actually saving a lot of time. And you can set up your emails that go out to nurture your people automatically. Yeah. So don't do emails by hand and send them physically to everyone on your database by going to spreadsheet and copying, pasting, and then sending a bunch of emails via CC or BCC from your Gmail or Yahoo account. That's totally not cool. The next thing is to set boundaries. If it's not written down, it won't get done. Okay. This simple rule is actually quite magic. It's very simple, but if you don't write down every single task that you have to accomplish for your business every day, even your private tasks if you want to, you won't do it. Because when you're busy, you haven't got time to remember, oh, I need to send an email to X. Oh, I need to send a quote to Y. Oh, I should ask for the testimonial from the client. I just completed the work. You forget. So as the thought crosses your mind, put it straight away in your paper diary. And then tick it off one by one. Do the big project first every day, and then spend the rest of your time doing admin work and doing the little tasks that need to be done. Once everything is ticked off, you have my permission to go and pamper yourself and to actually live your life. That's how you get stuff done. The next thing is ask yourself, what is acceptable and unacceptable in my business? What do I have to do to communicate these values and boundaries to my audience? Then do that. If it means you have to change your copy, if it means you have to change your onboarding process, do that. One example that I'm using, I want to get paid before I do the work. I have had very bad experiences in the past, in the early days in my business, where I did the work before I got paid, and I ended up having to chase clients. And, I'm not in the business of chasing clients. I'm in the business of making money and helping my clients make money. The money becomes secondary because I love what I do, but I still need to make money to pay the bills. So when I settle that energy, I get paid, I can let go of the money. It's done. Then I can focus solely on the project. Yeah. And it is so liberating to be able to do that. So if you're chasing money and you're in the habit of doing the work first and then going and having to chase clients to pay your bills, please, please, please stop doing that. Start putting boundaries in place where you get paid before you do the work. It will change your life, I promise you. It is so powerful to be able to have that money dealt with, the energy out of the way, and you can focus on the work. It is amazing. And you do better work that way as well, because you don't have the worry of, oh my God, I wonder if she's going to pay me on time. Oh, she hasn't paid. Oh, she's missed the payment deadline. That is so icky. So icky. Yeah, 50% deposit. If it works for you, Jocelyn, great. If I have long-term clients, sometimes I do get paid in arrears, but they have already proven that they're paying me. So I do have exceptions, but these guys have been with me for a long time and they're paying me regularly, and I don't need to worry about it. But usually I always get paid first. That is my rule, one of my rules. Another one of my rules is that I stop doing coaching calls when I go on a cruise. It's not because I don't want to, it's because I can't, because the internet on cruise ships is so bad and so expensive that it's just a nightmare to do it. So I just decided, you know what? When I'm on a cruise, it's my holiday. Yes, I can do copywriting projects. I can still support people via email. I can still communicate on Facebook. I can log in and do that, but I just can't do coaching calls. I won't do coaching calls. And it works. It works really well. I also don't work late at night, except with minor exceptions like this one, because of the time difference of doing this webinar. But usually come 6, 7 o'clock at night, I call it a day. I'm done. You know, I just want to enjoy the evening, have a glass of wine, hang out with John, hang out with my friends or family, wherever we are. The next one is work on your mindset every day. It will help you set better boundaries because you'll respect yourself more. You can't change others, but you can change yourself. So if things don't work well for you, you need to look within first, because chances are there's something there that you're not doing or you're not communicating, and so it creates a disconnect in your business and with your clients and your audience. Somebody mentioned that before, I can't remember who it was, but you need to communicate your boundaries to your loved ones. So John knows that he can't disturb me when I'm wearing my earbuds, these earbuds, okay? And usually when I'm working on my one project a day and I'm listening to focus music on YouTube, I'm wearing these. So he knows this is Nika's work time. I can't disturb her. And obviously when I'm coaching, I wear these as well. So he respects that time because I communicated that to him, and he's fine with that. So if you have children, partners, friends, you're living with friends, you're living with your mother, whatever, you need to communicate that this is time for work. So you need to have a specific setting or a sign or whatever it is that works for you, but you need to tell people not to disturb you. So when you're in work mode, kids don't open the door all the time. Unless you have babies, then it's a different story, of course. But if you have kids that are 7, 8, 9 years old, I think they will understand that mommy's not to be disturbed or daddy's working right now. And maybe you can reward them with a little reward if they are abiding by your rules, and give them something in return. So you're actually training them to respect your time as well. Yeah, I love this, Marie. That's great. I didn't even know that. So yeah, she just says that on the One Thing website, they have a printable door hanger that alerts others that we are doing our one thing. Great. Hang that on the door. Yeah. So the next thing is you want to track your time for everything, okay? But you also want to track your non-essential work. Because if you waste time on non-essential work that you don't like doing, like I said before, you want to outsource that. Look at ways to outsource it. You don't have to spend $500 a month to outsource something. You can maybe start with $50 and pay somebody for an hour of their time, but they might get a lot of stuff done. Yeah. So just track your time to see where you're actually productive and where you're wasting precious time. Because once you know where you're wasting time, you can be more productive again and stop doing that. Stop wasting time. You want to also tick off your to-dos. because doing it is really sexy. I love it. You know, it's gratifying to be able to tick off my list and, oh my God, I've done this. Oh my God, I've done this. And at the end of the day, I'm looking at my diary and I have all these ticked off boxes. It feels gratifying. And in hindsight, I can look at my week and I go, you know what? I didn't feel I was productive, but when I look at all the things that I did, I've done a lot of work. So you can feel good about yourself and you can reward yourself with something that gives you pleasure. Yeah. You also want to watch your emotions. And, you know, for example, you may get blocked speaking to certain people. You know, they may make you feel a bit icky. Or maybe a client makes you feel icky or a bit funny, or you just don't feel right when you speak to that person. Your emotions are actually like an inner compass that you can use to build the business of your dreams. And I want to give you a quick example. I had a client in Sydney. They have a lot of affiliate websites. So that was before I wrote copy. I was a freelance writer. I wasn't a copywriter yet. And I did a lot of articles and ebooks and blogs and things like that for that client. I became so busy for this guy. I worked with him about 5 or 6 years. And he had an office in inner city in downtown Sydney. And he had like, I don't know, about 6, 7 affiliated websites that were all to doing with finances. So credit cards, home loans, mortgages, etc., etc. And I started off writing articles for him, and I got so busy I had to start outsourcing to a team of writers because we were literally writing hundreds of articles a day. Okay, and I couldn't possibly do that myself. And we did that for many, many, many years. And he was great to work with in the beginning because I really didn't have any boundaries, and I was just happy to have a great client who paid me a lot of money because obviously writing hundreds of articles every day, you know, resulted in a very good paycheck at the end of the month. But what happened is over time, he started delaying the payments. And I had to pay my writers every single week. So in the meantime, I had 2 mortgages, actually 3 mortgages. I had 2 investment properties in the house. I paid mortgages for everything. I was the sole breadwinner. John was already at home with me. And this guy wouldn't pay me on time. So I would do all the work in a month and he wouldn't pay me until next month, in the middle of the month. And in the meantime, I had to pay my writers every single week. And I had like 15 writers that worked for me full time. So you can imagine some months he would pay me like 50 grand. But out of those 50 grand, I would have to pay 25 to my writers. And I didn't have that cash flow, you know. So I visited the guy. I actually flew to Sydney. I went to their office. I communicated that it's impossible for me to have a functional business when they were delaying their payments to me. It's just not cool, right? Because we didn't delay our delivery of articles. We were always on time, always quick, always doing great work. But he just didn't do the payment, and it became so painful for me. It was such a huge stress on me that eventually I sacked him. I actually got rid of him. I basically got rid of him. I sacked a client that paid me consistently between $10,000 and $50,000 a month because he was not paying his bills on time. So that is my boundary, right? So do you throw away 50 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 10 grand a month for the sake of having peace of mind? I say absolutely yes. If people don't respect you, if they don't respect you to pay you on time, if they don't respect you to work with your system that you've set up, they're not worthy of your time, no matter how much money they're willing to pay you. It's just not worth your health, your emotional health, your physical health to engage in working with people like that. So I wanted to share this. It might shock some of you and they go, oh my God, that's a lot of money. It was a lot of money and it affected me financially. But at the end of the time, I am so happy that I did this because it helped me take my business to the next level. So the last thing I want to talk about is to reward yourself for every milestone you tick off your list, okay? Because if you don't have rewards, then you don't have fun. So give yourself the good stuff as well. So at the end of the day, once you completed your one thing, once you completed your mini tasks and you looked, you've done your admin work, the non-negotiables that need to be done every day, reward yourself. Go and have a spa, meet girlfriends for coffee, go meet your mates for a one-on-one. I don't know, whatever it is that makes you tick, do that. Give yourself little gifts of love to yourself. Maybe it's just playing with your crystals or going into nature and having a naked bath under the sun or whatever makes you happy. You should do something like that every single day, but as a reward after you've done your work. And that will make you more productive in itself. So that's it. That's me done with the presentation. So I'm just going to get rid of the slides and show my pretty face. And then you guys can ask me questions if you have questions. Or unless I have put you all to sleep. You can just put your questions in the chat, because if we put everyone on speaker, it might get too noisy. So if you have questions, pop them in the comments and I'll stay here until they're all answered. And if you don't have questions, then we can call it a day. Okay, questions are coming in. Okay. Carol's asking, are you playing the background music the whole time you are working? Yes, I do. When I'm working on the one thing, that one major project that I'm working on every day, the background music is always on, because it just helps me get into my zone very, very quickly. And because I have these on, I don't get distracted and I feel that I'm a lot more productive. It really helps me. But you can play with it and see whether it works for you. Pen and paper for everything, says Christine. Absolutely. Absolutely. Pen and paper, you can't go past it. You're a lot more productive with pen and paper. Helen says, thank you. She's going to hike. Oh my God, have so much fun, darling. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's you time. You deserved it. Well done. Well done. Have fun, okay? Bye-bye. Stephanie. She loves my clothes. My quote, to-do lists are sexy. Yes, they are, especially when you tick them off. They're so sexy. Absolutely. Sarah says she ends up with piles around her office with all of the diverse projects. Is there a way to focus without the piles building up? Yeah, use a Moleskine. Use actually a book diary rather than scrap paper, right? So rather than scrap paper, use an actual book that you can carry with you. So when you go and work in a coffee shop or when you go on holidays and you do a bit of work, your diary's with you all the time. And usually they last you for a year. I mean, my bullet journal will probably last me another couple of months and then I have to change to a new one. Yeah. Does that help, Sarah? Do you think that will make a difference for you? Christy says, I'm building my business part-time because I have a full-time job that takes a lot of my day. Do you have any suggestions for me to get motivated, productive in the early AM hours? Yes, I do, Christy. I built my second business. My first business was in network marketing for almost 4 years, and I failed that tremendously because it just wasn't me. It wasn't what I wanted. But I built my second business, which was my freelance writing business, working full-time as a chef for 7 months. So I would be in the kitchen, I'd say 12 hours a day. And I'd go home and I'd write for my clients. And I did that every day of the week, even on my time off, because I had to build my business. So the suggestions to get motivated and productive in the early hours of morning is basically this question for you. How serious are you about building the business of your dreams? How important is it for you to have time freedom, to have freedom from a job, to be able to be your own boss and to build that business that will allow you to live the lifestyle of your dreams. If you have this big ass dream that I had, you will have no problem being motivated. You need to connect to your dream, and you need to keep your dream center every single day. So if it means putting up vision boards, creating vision boards, beautiful vision boards, if it means having a vision board on your computer screen, if it means checking in every morning with a quick meditation about your dream, about your future life, how you want it to look, if it means journaling about your dream life, whatever works for you, Christy, but you have to connect with your dream. Because if you're not passionate about this business that you're building for whatever reason, then why are you building it? Yeah. When you have that passion, like I had this passion, I wanted to be location independent. But first, I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to get rid of these asshole bosses that I worked for in the kitchen. And I wanted to not cook anymore because I hated it so much. I wanted to be home at night. I wanted to be home on the weekend. I wanted to have a social life. So that for me was all the motivation I needed to work until midnight every day and write 2, 3, 4 hours at night after working in the hot, sweaty kitchen. It was all the motivation I needed because I had this yearning, this dream, and I knew that without doing that, without committing myself to the process, I would not achieve it. I would be cooking until I would be retired, and I'll probably die from stress, from unhappiness, from frustration. So I wasn't going to experience that. Thank you, Anne. Have a good night, darling. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so does that help, Christy? Is that helpful? Sarah says she writes notes on legal paths and date every conversation or project that she notes. Okay. Yeah, you could do that in a booklet as well. So that eliminates all this stuff flying around in your office. Yeah. It helps. Cool. Okay, thank you. Glad it helps. Cool. Good. So anybody else? Okay, Wendy. Wendy has a huge pile of moleskins and she loves pen and paper. The moleskin situation is slightly embarrassing. Love them to refer back to. Exactly. You're exactly like me. I'm the same. My pile of moleskins are in Australia in the garage of friends, but they are there. And I actually keep all of my moleskins and send them back to Australia or take them with me when I go back to Australia. Because I, like you, like to refer back to my notes. So before I was traveling, I also had a moleskin for note-taking. So when I'd go to an event or whatever, that was my creative note-taking journal. And then I had my diary. But because we're traveling and because I'm conscious of my weight and the space and all that, I've eliminated the actual journal bit and only have my diary. And that's why I love my bullet journal, because it allows me to still journal and kind of be creative at the same time. Jocelyn needs separate booklets or folders for each client. Can't imagine having everything for all clients in one book. Well, see, I keep all of my client information virtually. I don't have anything printed out for a client. Everything is in either Google Drive or in Dropbox, okay? I don't keep any information on my computer. I have it all in the cloud, all secure with passwords and whatnot, because if my computer dies tomorrow, I can buy a new computer and I can access all of my information. If the place I'm living in floods tomorrow or burns down or whatever, I'm not losing anything. All the information is stored securely in the cloud. So that works for me, right? I don't have folders. I don't have binders. I don't want to print as much. Like I printed out the notes for the thing tonight, but I usually don't print because obviously I'm conscious of, you know, saving the environment as well. And so for each client, I have a folder in my Dropbox or on Google Drive. And inside the folder, I have notes from calls, things we work on together. So when I have the next call with that person, I have the notes from last time and I can look up what we worked on and I'm immediately back on track with where we're at, where that person wants to go, etc., etc. And that works really well for me. Works really well. Yes, my Moleskin's just for my daily to-dos and doodling. Exactly. Correct. Yeah. Yes. Wendy loved my bullet point diary and drawings. Very inspirational. Thank you. I'm a bit of a, yeah, I just love doodling and being creative. That is one of the ways I reward myself. I am happy doodling. It just makes me happy. Yeah. All right. Do we have any more questions, guys? I think I'm losing my voice. I've got a smoky voice now. Any more questions? I just want to say thank you so much for showing up. I really, really appreciate you all being here. I hope you got lots of value from this presentation. Like I said at the beginning, I will record. Well, this is being recorded. You will get the recording, and I will give you the slides as well, so you can see my bullet journal thingy bits. Stephanie's looking forward to catching the replay. Thank you so much. So thanks, guys. I hope this was helpful. Yeah. Have a great day, great night, wherever you are. Yeah, now to implement, exactly. And if you have questions, any questions that come up for you, just pop them in the Awaken Your Impact group in Facebook and tag me, and I will get there. Either not tonight because it's gone midnight, but tomorrow I'll get to it and I'll answer your questions for you. Thank you, Christy. I'm really happy you enjoyed it. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marie. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jocelyn. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to go, I think, to sleep. And yeah, have a great day, great night, wherever you are. All right. Lots of love. I'll see you guys in the group. Okay. Bye-bye.